September 16th, 2025. Just before 10 p.m., alarms tore through the Novellus Aluminum Plant in Oswego, New York. Inside the hot mill, where molten aluminum is pressed into sheets thin enough to form truck bodies, something had gone catastrophically wrong. A spark ignited near the furnace. Within minutes, flames were climbing the walls and chewing through the roof. Firefighters from 26 departments across Oswego and Onondaga counties raced to the scene. Over 175 firefighters pumped thousands of gallons of water into the building, but the heat was overwhelming. Steel beams twisted and buckled. By dawn, the roof over the hot mill had collapsed, burying the equipment underneath. No workers were hurt, but the damage was total. The machinery responsible for producing 25,000 tons of aluminum every month was gone. Plant supervisors stood outside in coveralls streaked with soot, watching the building they'd kept running for years reduced to twisted metal and ash. By the time the sun came up, everyone on site understood what this meant. This wasn't a setback measured in days or weeks. This was the kind of damage that would shut down operations for months, and the ripple effects would reach far beyond upstate New York. Within hours, Ford's logistics teams in Michigan were staring at spreadsheets that no longer made sense. The pipeline that fed their entire truck operation had just been severed, and while the full impact wouldn't be felt immediately, the crisis that followed would cost Ford between $1.5 and $2 billion, force temporary layoffs of thousands of workers, and expose a vulnerability at the heart of American manufacturing that nobody saw coming. To understand how a single fire could create such massive disruption, you have to start with a decision Ford made years ago. A decision that seemed brilliant at the time, but created a dependency that would eventually threaten the company's most profitable operation. For generations, American trucks were built from steel, heavy, durable, and proven over decades of abuse on job sites and highways. But in the early 2000s, Ford's engineers pitched a radical idea. What if they could build the F-150, America's best-selling vehicle, out of aluminum instead? The truck would shed hundreds of pounds, improve fuel efficiency, and give Ford a massive marketing advantage over competitors still welding steel. The gamble paid off spectacularly. The aluminum F-150 became a phenomenon, outselling every other vehicle in America year after year. Dealers couldn't keep them on the lot. Workers in Dearborn, Kentucky and Kansas City ran the lines around the clock, building over 1,000 trucks every single day. The rhythm of those plants shaped entire communities. Parents scheduled their lives around shift changes. Local businesses opened early to catch workers coming off the night shift. But the switch to aluminum came with a hidden cost. Steel can be sourced from dozens of suppliers across the country. Aluminum sheet metal suitable for automotive production is far more specialized. By 2025, Ford was getting close to 40% of its aluminum from a single supplier, Novellus. And one plant in particular carried a significant portion of that load. The facility in Oswego, New York, the third largest employer in the county, produced over 300,000 metric tons of automotive-grade aluminum every year. Rail cars loaded with massive coils left the plant regularly, heading straight to Ford's assembly lines. The F-150, the Lightning, the Expedition, and the Navigator all depended on aluminum from this single source. Industry analysts had warned about this kind of dependency. In pursuit of efficiency, manufacturers had eliminated the cushion that might save them if anything went wrong. But the system had worked for years. The trains kept running, the aluminum kept arriving, and Ford kept building trucks until the night the Oswego plant caught fire. The Novellus plant wasn't just another supplier. It was a critical node in Ford's entire aluminum strategy. Before the fire, that single facility provided a substantial portion of the aluminum sheet needed for Ford's most profitable vehicles. Every coil that left the plant was already spoken for, loaded onto trains bound for Michigan and Kentucky with production schedules measured down to the hour. When the hot mill went dark, Ford suddenly faced a significant gap in its aluminum supply. There was no warehouse full of backup material, no secret supplier waiting in the wings. Novellus had other plants in Ontario and Germany, but those facilities operated on their own tight production schedules. They couldn't just conjure up extra capacity overnight. The numbers were stark. Oswego's annual output of over 300,000 metric tons represented roughly 40% of all automotive-grade aluminum sheet produced in the United States. With the plant expected to be offline until at least late December, potentially stretching into early 2026, Ford faced months of constrained supply. For Ford's supply chain managers, the math was brutal. Every missing shipment meant trucks that couldn't be built. Stamping plants that shaped body panels would need to adjust operations. Machine shops downstream would see reduced orders. The system Ford had built for speed and efficiency now revealed its weakness. There was limited flexibility, minimal margin for error. Industry analysts watching the situation unfold recognized the broader implications. Modern automotive manufacturing operates on incredibly tight tolerances. Just-in-time inventory systems minimize costs but maximize vulnerability. When a critical supplier goes down, there's rarely a quick fix. In the days following the fire, Ford began assessing the full scope of the impact. Internal teams worked to calculate how much aluminum they had in inventory, how quickly Novellus could ramp up production at other facilities, and whether alternative suppliers could fill any of the gap. The answers weren't encouraging. By late September, Ford announced what workers had been dreading. The company would need to implement temporary production adjustments at multiple facilities. The Kentucky truck plant, which builds the Super Duty lineup, would see reduced shifts. Other plants producing aluminum-intensive vehicles would face similar cuts. For workers at these facilities, the news came as a shock. Many had decades of experience on the line. They'd weathered economic downturns, model changeovers, and even the pandemic. But this was different. This wasn't about consumer demand or economic conditions. This was about a fundamental break in the supply chain that nobody could quickly repair. At the Kansas City assembly plant, thousands of workers faced temporary layoffs as Ford adjusted production schedules. In Kentucky, workers who'd planned their family budgets around consistent overtime suddenly found their hours cut. The human impact was immediate and tangible. These weren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. They were mortgage payments, car loans, college tuition, and grocery bills. One worker at the Kentucky plant, speaking to local media, captured the frustration many felt. "We've been through a lot over the years, but this is something else. You can't build trucks without the metal to build them with." The comment reflected a broader reality. Even the most skilled workforce in the world can't work around missing materials. Ford's official statements emphasized that these were temporary measures while the company worked to secure alternative aluminum sources and waited for Novellus to restore operations. But internally, executives understood the timeline was uncertain. Rebuilding a hot mill isn't a matter of weeks. It's a months-long process involving specialized equipment, extensive testing, and regulatory approval. The financial impact started becoming clear in Ford's third quarter earnings call in late October. CEO Jim Farley addressed the Novellus situation directly, acknowledging that the company expected the aluminum shortage to reduce earnings by approximately $1.5 to $2 billion in the fourth quarter of 2025. That figure accounted for lost production, reduced sales, and the costs associated with finding alternative suppliers. Wall Street reacted to the news with concern. Ford's stock dropped roughly 7% in the trading session following the earnings announcement, representing a loss of several $billion in market value. Analysts downgraded their forecast for Ford's full-year performance, citing the uncertainty around when production would fully normalize. For dealerships across the country, the shortage created immediate headaches. Trucks that had been in steady supply suddenly became scarce. Customers who'd ordered F-150s or Expeditions months earlier received calls saying their vehicles would be delayed indefinitely. Dealers had no clear timeline to offer, no certainty about when inventory would return to normal levels. Some dealerships responded by adjusting prices on the inventory they still had. With supply constrained and demand remaining strong, market forces pushed prices higher. Trucks that might have sat on the lot for weeks suddenly commanded premiums. For buyers, particularly those who needed trucks for work, the timing couldn't have been worse. A contractor in Texas, speaking to a local news station, expressed the frustration many felt. "I've got jobs lined up, I need a truck to haul equipment, and they're telling me it could be months. Meanwhile, the trucks they do have are priced thousands more than they were a few weeks ago." The comment reflected a reality playing out across the country. The aluminum shortage was creating real problems for real people trying to run their businesses. While Ford struggled with constrained supply, competitors saw an opportunity. General Motors, which had diversified its aluminum sourcing more extensively, moved quickly to highlight the reliability of its supply chain. Stellantis worked to lock in additional aluminum supplies on the spot market. Toyota, with its carefully managed supplier relationships and buffer inventory, barely felt the impact. For Ford, watching competitors gain ground was particularly painful. The F-150 had been America's best-selling vehicle for decades. Now, with production constrained, that dominant position faced real pressure. Every truck Ford couldn't build was a potential sale for a competitor. Inside Ford's headquarters in Dearborn, emergency meetings ran around the clock. Supply chain managers worked to identify every possible source of additional aluminum. Procurement teams negotiated with suppliers in Europe and Asia. Engineers evaluated whether aluminum from different sources would meet Ford's specifications without requiring extensive retooling. COO Kumar Galhotra, who'd built a reputation for making tough operational decisions, led the response effort. The challenge was immense. Ford needed to keep as much production running as possible while managing a supply shortage that could stretch for months. Every decision involved trade-offs. Prioritize certain models over others, shift aluminum from less profitable vehicles to the F-150, accept slightly longer lead times on certain components. The company ultimately chose to implement a tiered approach. The highest volume, most profitable models would receive priority for available aluminum. Other vehicles would see more significant production cuts. It was a calculated decision designed to minimize financial damage, but it still meant thousands of workers facing reduced hours or temporary layoffs. The impact extended far beyond Ford's walls. In Oswego County, where the Novellus plant employed over 1,200 workers, the economic ripple effects were immediate. Machine shops that serviced the plant lost contracts. Trucking companies that hauled aluminum coils saw routes disappear. Restaurants and retailers that depended on plant workers' paychecks noticed the drop in business. County officials estimated the fire's economic impact on the region at over $55 million in the first quarter alone. That figure accounted for lost wages, reduced business activity, and the multiplier effects as money stopped flowing through the local economy. Novellus pledged to keep workers on payroll while repairs proceeded, but hundreds of contractors and suppliers faced uncertainty. For families in Oswego, the crisis wasn't an abstract economic event. It was a neighbor suddenly worried about making the mortgage payment. It was a local business owner wondering how long they could weather reduced traffic. It was a community built around industrial manufacturing suddenly facing an uncertain future. By late October, Ford executives were working to project confidence while acknowledging the challenges ahead. In the quarterly earnings call, Jim Farley emphasized the company's resilience. "We are working aggressively to mitigate the impact of the Novellus situation," he said. "Our team has done an excellent job securing alternative aluminum sources and optimizing our production schedule. We expect to recover much of the lost production in 2026. The company pledged to recover at least $1 billion through operational improvements and cost management in the following year. But for workers still facing reduced hours and buyers still waiting for trucks, those projections offered limited comfort." What the Novellus fire exposed wasn't just Ford's vulnerability. It revealed a broader fragility in modern manufacturing. In the pursuit of efficiency, redundancy had been systematically eliminated. Just-in-time inventory systems, single-source suppliers, and tightly integrated supply chains all work beautifully when everything runs perfectly. But they leave little room for error when something goes wrong. Toyota had learned this lesson decades earlier, building supplier relationships and inventory buffers specifically to handle disruptions. Other manufacturers maintained relationships with multiple suppliers for critical components. Ford, in its push to maximize efficiency with aluminum, had created a dependency that turned a fire at a single plant into a crisis affecting thousands of workers and costing billions of dollars. The aluminum shortage continues to affect Ford's production into late 2025. Novellus has been working to restore operations at the Oswego plant, with initial restart expected in late December or early January 2026. But full production won't return immediately. The plant will need to ramp up gradually, with output slowly increasing as equipment is tested and processes are verified. Ford's production schedule won't fully normalize until well into 2026. Thousands of trucks that should have been built in late 2025 will never be produced. Dealers will continue managing constrained inventory for months, and workers at affected plants will face continued uncertainty about hours and overtime. The financial impact, estimated at $1.5 to $2 billion in lost earnings, represents one of the most significant production disruptions in Ford's recent history. It's a cost measured not just in company profits, but in worker paychecks, dealer revenues, and the economic health of communities that depend on automotive manufacturing. What began with a fire at a single plant revealed the hidden vulnerabilities in a system built for perfect efficiency. When that efficiency breaks down, the cost is measured in billions of dollars and thousands of disrupted lives. And the question facing not just Ford, but the entire automotive industry is whether the pursuit of efficiency has gone too far, eliminating the resilience needed to weather inevitable disruptions. For the workers who build these trucks, the dealers who sell them, and the buyers who depend on them, the answer is becoming increasingly clear. When a single point of failure can bring down an empire built on American manufacturing, something fundamental needs to change. The Novellus fire didn't just cost Ford billions of dollars. It exposed how fragile our entire manufacturing system has become. And as other automakers face similar dependencies in their supply chains, the question isn't if another disruption will happen, but when. What do you think? Should companies like Ford prioritize efficiency over resilience? Or is it time for American manufacturing to rebuild the redundancies that once protected workers and communities from crises like this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you want to stay ahead of the stories the automotive industry doesn't want you to know about, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell. Because while Ford is working to recover from this crisis, there are already warning signs pointing to the next major disruption in American manufacturing. We'll be covering it all, so don't miss out.